Hi, and thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to show you how to assemble a shadow box. So these are two different kinds of shadow boxes. This one is made from colored cardstock, and so the concept behind a shadow box is just like different layers separated by gaps, usually made with like foam, to give it depth. So, and for this one, I used just like simple white cardstock. Pictures of these will be found on Instagram, so you can get like a better idea. And let me show you what it looks like with no lights. This one doesn't show very much because I still have some light in the background, but like the light, and there's like some lights between the layers. Let's see if this makes it any better. So slightly better. There should be some light in here, but I made it a long time ago and I need to check. No, maybe I didn't put light in between. So anyways, so I need to finish this video before my kids wake up from their nap. So let's talk about paper or cardstock. For shadow boxes like this, if you're using just white, you need to make sure that you're not using anything thicker than 65 pounds, because the thinner it is, the more light it will allow to go in between the layers, and that's what you're aiming for. Here, you really don't care. So I used the basil cardstock, and I think it's 100 pounds. So let's talk about things that give the depth or separate the layers. So these are adhesive foams. These are just squares that you can just peel and stick in between the layers. And there's this, I got it from Dollarama apparently for like $1.25, and it's just to mount picture frames on the wall. The problem with this is it's 4 squares, so you need to cut it down into smaller squares or strips. And one thing you need to look at also is how wide they are, because the wider they are, usually the more depth it has, the more it distinguishes the different layers. So that's one thing to consider. Another one that you can use are these. They come in a roll, so you just unroll it, I guess, and put it in between your layers. There's another option that I used in this frame. They're called Zots, and they're just like tiny glue drops, but I really don't like it. And like neither of these are my favorite method to put in between layers. I'll leave my favorite method to the end because it's what I will be using to assemble my shadow box. So the Zots is what I used here, and what I don't like is, I don't know, like the gapping between layers is not consistent. Like you see how it sticks here more than it sticks here. So I really don't like that. It doesn't look very clean, right? So this is not my favorite. The rolls are not my favorite either. Anyways, the rolls are not my favorite either. I guess either. Anyways, so they're not my favorite because it does the same thing for some reason. Like even when I lay them flat, it doesn't, I don't know, it kind of wrinkles the paper, so the gapping is not symmetrical. I don't know why. But it shouldn't be much of a problem with like the heavier cardstock, but if it's not so heavy like this one, and let me show you if it might show a little bit in this one. It kind of sticks, and it's still not very, let me see. Yeah, so it's not symmetrical either. Like it's like there you have more gapping on one side more than the other. So these are not my favorite methods, okay? I'll show you what whoopsie. I didn't put the backing because I need to finish this video in a short time, so I didn't put the backing. Okay, so yeah, so we talked about how to separate the layers or how to glue them. The other thing I want to talk about is light. These are LED light strips. They're really nice. It's what I use for this white shadow box, and it's more bright, and you don't see, I mean, you can, it depends on the way you put them, but you kind of don't see the light. Like it just like there is light, it lights it up, but you don't see the tiny dots where the light is coming from. These are fairy lights. This one is from IKEA. It's like, I think it's $6 Canadian. You can also find it on Amazon, 12, I think, for $20. So these are cheaper. They're not as bright, and you can kind of see the light. Like it depends on the way you put it, but you can still see the light. I made a shadow box for like a cross stitch piece that I made, and I hid it in between my layers so it doesn't, because I didn't want it, like the look, it depends on the look that you're going for, but the look I was going for, it was clouds, and I didn't want to see, because like when you're looking at the sky, you don't see dots of light, you just see the light. So I hid it in between my foam layers. So it all depends on the way, on what you're going for. So these are the two types of lights that you can use. I'm pretty sure there are more, but like these are the most common ones. So shadow boxes, where to get them and how and what they look like. You can get them from all craft stores. IKEA has this one, and this is my favorite. It's cheap, it's like $6, so it's my favorite. What I don't like about it is the front layer is acrylic. It's not glass. It would have looked it would have looked classier or more, I don't know, more rich looking if it was glass. This is a protective sheet that you, to prevent it from scratching, you just remove it once you start doing your design. Michael's has some really nice ones. There's one that is extra deep that I like. It's this one. Don't mind my doll. It's a little, it's taking a nap. So anyways, this was supposed to be a lake and a forest, and this is like velvet cardstock. So it's deep, and I wanted a deep one to accommodate my little toy. So it's really nice. It's more expensive. I think I got it for like $20 or something. So it's more expensive. All right, so let's get going. So what does the IKEA shadow box look like? It has layers. You open it. You don't need this. This is just, I don't know, an extra border for your, I don't know, if you want to make a photo smaller. I don't know why you'd want to do that. And then, so the top layer, the top acrylic layer, and this is what gives it the depth. So yeah, one tip before I start: if you're gonna use any of these sticky methods, my tip is when you're gonna assemble it, so you have like different layers. So when you're gonna assemble it, when you're gonna put them on top of each other, just try and do that in your frame. Don't do it outside of your frame, because if you do that, so this is my design. I designed it in Design Space. You can find the SVG free on my Instagram account. Okay, so say you have this foam all around, right? And now it's sticky and it's good to go, and I'm trying to align it. So I'm like focusing on one area. I'm gonna drop it, or it's gonna adhere to one side when I'm not ready. So don't do that. The easiest way is to assemble it inside your shadow box. So so you start with this, and it has your foam, what if it's foam strip ready and good to go. And now you just put this on top. It's a lot easier to lay them right. Okay, so, and like I want to show you because I want to assemble it here. yeah, and how to attach the light. So it all also depends on the look that you're going for. But for this one, for the ones that are plain white, this is the best method to do it, right? And this is the best light to use, the LED strip, because it's the light that is going to give it, that's going to make it pop. So you want something that is bright enough. You can do a better job than I did. For my design, I wanted like white like this, because in my design I wanted more light at the bottom, so I tried to not put as many here. Otherwise you can just, like, it comes sticky on one side, so you can just attach it on one side. Not attach it, but like just roll it around. But I didn't want to do that because I wanted more lights where I had more layers. So that's why I like twisted it here, and I was like, no, I'm not going to put a lot on top. I'm just going to put more at the bottom. Okay, so yours can look more, I don't know, better looking than this, but it's not going to show. So I don't care. I mean, I do care. I hate things when they're not perfect, but I don't care just right now. And see, like with this one, so I attached the layers. So when you're done, like this is what it should look like. Like you can just take this, save it, and reuse your frame once you're done. But see, so I use the foam here. The first two layers, I used like one whole strip of sheet, but it doesn't, I don't know, I didn't feel like, you can see it, it's a little wrinkly here. Even though I did my best to like just lay it flat, and I also like took it apart a little bit, like from the side, and I restuck it, and still I feel like it's a little still wrinkly, so that's why I don't like it very much. So I was like, so let's use just like smaller pieces, but still not. I really don't like this very much. I mean, it's okay. It doesn't show. It does the job, but I just don't like that. I don't think it's perfect. Okay. So another method, and that is my favorite method. The cons for it is it's slightly more expensive, because like with these, you can just get like small strips and you don't use as much. So the other method is I just get one big sheet of foam board, and I cut it into squares. Okay, so I cut it, and before you cut any design, measure your shadow box from the inside, because the length of the shadow box is different from one to another. So even sometimes like there are variations between the IKEA ones. So measure the inside and then cut it. And it's also better to cut just one sheet and just put it inside, make sure it sticks well, or it fits well, and then cut the rest of the design so you don't waste paper. Okay, so measure the inside of your shadow box, and then cut one piece of paper, preferably even the backing, because usually the last one doesn't have much of a details in it, so it cuts very fast, and you can just put it inside, make sure it's perfect, and then cut the rest of your design. So what I did is I got one large sheet of foam, like a foam board sheet, and it's just what they use for like school projects and whatnot. I got it, and I think I managed to cut 6 pieces of like foam squares, and then I cut the inside too. So now I have this. The good thing about this, it doesn't have to be perfect, especially with this design that I'm attaching today, because it's the border is not very thin, so it's not perfect. And I'm not selling this, it's just for my personal use. So it's okay, right? I could have cut it possibly with my maker, but I didn't want to like put much pressure on it. I've never cut foam board with it, and I feel like it's a waste. So I just cut it. It's not very, it doesn't take a lot of time. So the cons are, it's an extra step that you have to do. Plus, it's an extra cost, because I think it might cost you slightly more, but the finish is way better. So let's assemble our shadow box. So I'm just going to use this, and then here are my layers. Okay, first layer, and you just pop one in there. You really don't have to glue it. You don't have to do anything with this. That's the nice thing about it. You can just reuse it later on. So that's the nice thing about it. Like it's really, this is my favorite method. Okay, so second layer. See, like if it had glue on it, it would have just got my paper, and then I would have had to like peel it and try again. So with this, just simple layering. It's really super easy. I can use both of my hands. I don't know why I'm only using one. So anyways, so this is my final layer. I just want to show you. It cut perfectly except for this part. I think I had a piece of paper on my mat. My mat wasn't super clean. One tip, if you're gonna do an intricate design, or if you're gonna do a project that you're gonna sell, I really recommend a new mat and a new blade. You can save your old mat and your old blade, your old new mat and new blade. Never mind, my English. Ugh. Anyways, so you can save your old blade and just reuse it later on. But like if it's an intricate design like this, that's what I really recommend. So apparently I didn't do that, but I really don't care right now because it's not gonna show. So if you're gonna sell this, don't sell it like this. But if it's just for home use, it won't show. Okay, so now what we do is we can put this layer. When I cut, I know I'm going to be designing a lot more shadow boxes. So I cut enough to kind of reach all the way to the end. So I really don't need this, but like if you don't have enough, you can put this, okay? The only problem is now it sticks a little further. So what I recommend, if you're going to use this method, invest in it. So like get 2 boards, 3 boards and cut them. And like you can reuse them, so what's the harm? So I just want to show you like what it looks like. I'm not going to put the backing. There was one point that I just remembered now to mention, and then I forgot it again. Anyways, if I remember, I'll put it in the comments. Please check the comments to see if I remember what I was going to say. So this is what it looks like. Perfect. Oh, I remembered. You don't have to check the comment section. Yeah. You can put more layers if you want. So if you want more depth to this, you can put 2 layers of foam. And that's what I did. I did a shadow box for my kids' nursery, and it was a cross stitch, and I was going for clouds, and I wanted more depth. So I put 2 layers of foam in between, and it's really easy. So this is what I want to show you. Like, look how clean that is. Look how smooth the layers are. Like, you don't have it, and especially like if you're going to do something like this with no lights, that you're not depending on the light, use a higher grade. First of all, use expensive cardstock. Don't, if you're putting it in your home or you're selling it, just don't like invest in it, right? So just use the expensive stuff. Don't just buy like, although I do use cheap cardstock sometimes and some from the dollar store, but like if you're gonna do something with this, like this paper, I got this for like $7 from Walmart, so it's not very expensive, but it looks nice. Like it has some texture to it. I don't know if it shows. And so whatever. What I'm trying to say is, if you're going for this and you really don't care about the light, just use a higher like a heavier cardstock. I think this is either 85 or 100. I really don't know. I know the last layer, it's called basil cardstock, so that's 100 pounds. This, it's at least 80. So, but I really don't know if it's 85 or 100, but use heavier cardstock, because if you don't, first of all, it will look cheap. Second of all, the layers will not stick out very nice. If you want to add lights to this, you can do, I don't recommend the LED for this one. You can do just the fairy lights and put them between your foam layers. It will show. It might show, especially if you're putting 2 layers of foam, it won't. But because you can try and hide it in between the 2 foam layers. And if you're okay with like these dots showing, then you can do that. But like, this is what I recommend for if you're going to use light. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and also check out my Instagram pages if you don't follow me. If you need different tutorials, just let me know what you want me to what kind of tutorial you want me to make. The next one, not necessarily the next one, but the ones I'm working on right now are 3D letters, but 3D letters with shakers. So I usually modify my designs to have it include the shaker part. So, but the video will be about assembly and also designing in Arabic. So if you have any questions, also leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching. I have to go check on my kids. All right, bye.